what is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today's video is going to be a bit different, and that is basically I'm going to just discuss something real quick. And I know I'm doing a face cam video, which I rarely do, but I've actually liked doing these, and I apologize if my camera moves a ton. My table's kind of shaky. But anyways, before we start this video, please hit that subscribe button. It only takes 1 second, and it makes a big difference to the channel, and it helps support me as a content creator, and I want to make the best videos possible. I'm at 70 subscribers, and I want to thank you guys for hitting that big milestone. Right now, my biggest goal is to get to 100. We got to take those those small baby steps before we get to 100 subscribers. But as of now, we're in 70, and for me, that's great. Anyways, thank you guys. And today my topic is Robert Pattinson's Batman. Now, I know I've made this discussion so many times that people have probably gotten tired of me talking about Batman. But the thing is, Batman for me is the biggest, like the most popular fictional character of all time. I don't know. There's a massive debate on that. I know a lot of you that don't really love Batman are going to come at me and be like, no, he's not the biggest fictional character. It's Spider-Man or it's SpongeBob or whatever. Me personally, just my opinion. By the way, it's all subjective. Art is subjective. For me, Batman is clearly the most popular fictional character. His character has had so many versions of him, whether it's in the comics, whether it's in the movies, whether it's in animated series. There's just been so many versions of him that I find it hard to believe that he's not the most popular fictional character of all time. And in my heart, he is my favorite of all time. I'm probably one of the biggest Batman fans you'll ever meet. I know so much, I read so much, I've watched so many movies, and I just can't stop talking about Batman. That's why I always constantly make videos about Pattinson as Batman, because for me, I want to see the best Batman possible. And today's video is going to be me discussing, could Robert Pattinson become the best Batman there ever is? And look, so some of y'all might disagree with this video, and that's completely fine. I just don't want you guys going bashing at me, being like, oh, your beliefs are stupid, what you said is dumb. Because I remember one time a few months ago back, I made a video saying Ben Affleck is my favorite Batman. And lots of people were like, oh, then you're clearly not a comic book fan, or your opinion doesn't matter because you said something I disagree with. And look, all I have to say is, you are all allowed to have your opinions, just don't bash other people for opinions that they have. And look, that's all I'm trying to say. So my thoughts. Okay, so I have a video where I reacted to Pattinson's trailer, which you can find somewhere in my channel. And my first reaction was, oh my god, this guy could possibly be the best Batman ever. And now that there's been months that have passed by since Pattinson's trailer dropped, and now that there's months for me to kind of refresh, watch a few other Batman movies, and then kind of like think with my mind normally, this is what I have to say. If the movie does what the trailer promises, I think this is going to be the best Batman story we've ever seen. Do I think he's going to be the best Batman? Honestly, I still think Ben Affleck will be in that top part. I do think Ben Affleck will still be my personally favorite Batman. But as a Batman story, I kind of feel like the Batman from Matt Reeves is going to be the greatest story of all time. Or the greatest Batman story of all time. And the reason why I say that is because I'm a big fan of murder mystery stories. I don't know why, but I love seeing murder mystery stories, which is why the Riddler is one of my favorite villains of all time. I don't know, I've always loved that mysterious element of not knowing what's happening. And to me, knowing that we're finally going to get to see a detective-style Batman, it kind of feels cool. And it's something that, it's what's really making me want to see this movie even more. The detective aspect. And they haven't gone through that in the live-action universes. Like Michael Keaton, you barely ever saw his detective style. Christian Bale, I think there was only like 2 scenes where you actually did see that it was implied that he had detective skills. And then Ben Affleck's Batman didn't really have detective skills. Although, like I said, my favorite thing about Ben Affleck is his combat and how brutal he is. And in this trailer, we did see how he's more investigating things. And I guess it makes sense because they're using the Riddler as the main villain. And another reason why I believe this could be the best Batman story ever is Matt Reeves. Now, when the news first broke that Ben Affleck wasn't going to direct the movie and it was going to be Matt Reeves, I was disappointed but happy. Disappointed because I'm like, why would you take away Ben Affleck from the director's position? I'm one of those people who actually thinks that Ben Affleck is a better director than Zack Snyder. Even though I like more of Zack Snyder's movies, I don't know. I've always thought that Ben Affleck as a director had the potential to be better than Zack Snyder. I mean, he has an Academy-nominated film as a director. Or, not director, I think he has a screenplay. I'd have to search that up again, but I was really disappointed because at that time, there was a lot of people that were working on this project saying the script is so good, this is going to be the greatest Batman story of all time. And we were getting reports that it was going to be an Arkham Asylum story where Deathstroke is the main villain and you see all of Batman's rogue gallery, most of his rogue gallery. And there's so much hype about it. And Ben Affleck specifically, even before he was casted as Batman, he seemed so enthusiastic about the Batman. And when he became Batman, he seemed very enthusiastic. And apparently, I don't know if this is completely true. I apologize if I don't know this. But apparently, he made a bat cave in his house. That's what I heard. And this was way before he got casted, by the way. And, to me, that all sounds great. But I remember at first I was like against Matt Reeves. I'm like, why would you take away Ben Affleck? And another thing I thought at the time was, yeah, Ben Affleck's done. He's gone. He's out the window because for a while it seemed like Warner Bros. Had no confidence within Ben Affleck whatsoever. And the minute they casted Matt Reeves, I knew those two ideas were going to collide because Ben Affleck already had his script and Matt Reeves is someone who wants to create his own stories. And that's when I knew. Then there was reports saying Matt Reeves and Ben Affleck didn't really have the same story they wanted to tell. Matt Reeves obviously wanted to do a younger detective-style Batman noir story, while Ben Affleck wanted to be this darker, brutal, older Batman about him going into Arkham Asylum. And, I mean, Matt Reeves eventually won that battle. But a reason why I was still happy that Matt Reeves came in was before the Batman, the only movies I had seen were the Planet of the Apes trilogy. And I think around that time, War for the Planet of the Apes released in theaters. And then, look, this is going to be a spoiler for that movie. In that movie, Caesar, the main ape, dies. And then after watching the movie, I was like, wow. And I'm like, Matt Reeves was able to create a trilogy where I cared so much about an ape. I devoted my time and I went to go watch all of them. Well, two of them. No, I saw one of them in theaters, but the other two I had already seen at home. And I was thinking to myself, if Matt Reeves is able to do this with an ape, imagine what he can do with the most popular, most beloved character of all time. Just imagine. Just imagine the potential. And really, it's just Matt Reeves. And then I saw other Matt Reeves movies, but the ones I main want to discuss is this Planet of the Apes trilogy that he made. And for those that have not seen it, I highly recommend go watch. I think it was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, and I forgot what the first one was called. It's not just Planet of the Apes. I think it's called Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I'm not sure, but yeah, honestly, it's such a weird thing, how Matt Reeves was able to do that. And that's why I'm much more hyped up for this movie. And this is the movie I'm most hyped up for overall. I want to see this Batman movie more than the Snyder Cut, more than the Suicide Squad, more than Dune, more than, Soul, more than Wonder Woman 84. This movie specifically is the movie I want to go watch in theaters. Like, if Warner Bros. Came up to me and said, hey, look, we want to let you watch any of these movies that are coming right now, but just one of them. You can see one of them right now, somehow, right now. I would easily be like, yeah, let me see that Robert Pattinson Batman movie right now. Because from that trailer, it genuinely feels like it's going to be this noir, gritty, amazing story. How dark it is, everything. And I like the red and black a lot. A lot of people complained how Batman isn't like doesn't use red, but I think it fits really well in the how the images look. It kind of feels like comic booky, and you know, personally, I'm very hyped up. I just want to see this movie already, and I know a lot of people. Like I have some friends or very few friends who actually support Ben Affleck. I remember I made this Instagram live a few weeks ago that I said I hope Pattinson will be the best Batman ever. And someone was like, "Oh, you can't say that because you said Ben Affleck's the best Batman ever. So you saying that Pattinson is the best undermines what you said." No, everyone's opinion changes. There was a time where I thought Andrew Garfield was my favorite Spider-Man until I rewatched the Sam Raimi movies, and I was like, "Yeah, I loved Tobey Maguire's movies more." It's definitely that. And then, like just a year ago or 2 years ago, I said Christian Bale was my favorite Batman. And then I started actually loving BVS, and I was like, yep, Ben Affleck's my favorite Batman. When Man of Steel first dropped, I was saying Christopher Reeves is my favorite Superman till this day. Well, live action wise. And then I started appreciating more Henry Cavill's. And then now I'm like, yeah, Henry's my favorite Superman of all time, even better than the comics. I know my comic book geeks aren't going to like what I said, but, you know, everyone's opinions are different. My opinions personally change. If you had told me a few years ago, or actually just 2 years ago, that BVS was going to be in my top 3 favorite movies of all time, I would have called you stupid. I would have smacked you in the head and been like, do you not know me? Because I used to hate BVS because I was stupid, I was deluded, and I didn't even see the story. But now, I think it's the best comic book movie of all time, and it's in my top 3 films of all time. That's all I have to say. And Pattinson, I don't like this criticism that he's the Twilight boy. All he's been in is in Twilight. I'm gonna tell you right now. I would understand where you're coming from if the only thing Pattinson had done was Twilight. If they had casted him as Batman and all he had done was Twilight, I would have been sitting here complaining about why are we only gonna get this Twilight kid. But the thing is, go watch his other movies. I think the minute I took this actor seriously was when he was casted for a Christopher Nolan film, which was Tenet. And I'm like, huh, he's coming. And then I was hearing all this buzz about Lighthouse. And I decided to watch Lighthouse, and I'm like, wow, he's changing up his career. And then I heard he rejected Guardians of the Galaxy. I heard he rejected them because he wanted to make smaller indie films, because he didn't want to be known as the franchise guy. And now, look what it's done. It's made him the most famous, most popular character in all fictional history. Now, I could be wrong about that fictional part. I could be. I haven't checked the stats. I'm going to assume it's Batman. But for all I know, it could be somebody else. Personally, like I said, my favorite fictional character of all time will always be Batman. Until maybe someone else comes. I doubt anyone else will ever be my favorite. But Batman still, for now, is still my favorite. That actually changed like 5 years ago because I used to be more Spider-Man and now I'm Batman. But yeah, go watch The Lighthouse if you haven't seen anything Pattinson. And then come back at me and tell me what you think of Pattinson. Because after watching The Lighthouse, my first reaction was, oh my god, that guy is going to make a great Bruce Wayne. That guy's going to make a great Batman. Or just a great actor overall. And I even said this after watching the Batman trailer. I think Pattinson will win an Oscar one day. As whether it's best supporting actor, whether it's best leading actor, I don't know. I can't predict very well. But I do think that one day Pattinson will be up on that stage winning an Oscar. Do I think it's going to be for the Batman role? I actually think no. I think it's going to be another movie. Do I think it's for Tenet? Obviously not, because I don't know. Oh yeah, you should also watch Tenet because he was great in that movie. He really gives you this Bruce Wayne persona in that movie a bit. But it's kind of funny. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. Please just give Pattinson his respect. And that's all he really needs. It's just the fans to be behind his back. Don't go into this movie being like, oh, Twilight Boy this, Twilight Boy. I mean, when you're a young actor, you take any role you can get. You shouldn't be just criticizing one actor for their entire career for one role. Now, yes, I will say this. I didn't like Robert Pattinson in the Twilight movies, but that does not mean I'm just going to take that away and be like, yeah, he's a bad actor. He should never work in Hollywood ever again. No, if he had made multiple bad movies where he was terrible in them, then I would have sat here and been like, yep, don't pick him as Batman. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and peace.